Alright guys, welcome back for another one, and we are doing this weekly discussion old school style. If you remember being at the Toyota dealership, I used to have to drive a half hour up there to work every single day, and we would film a lot of these in the car in the mornings on the way to work. So I figured, hey, what the hell, we'll bring that back. And we're in my buddy's F-150 right now, and I wanted to retouch on a topic that was modern car prices, modern truck prices specifically. And the reason I'm bringing this to you is because, as you know, the prices of used cars have gotten they've just skyrocketed in the last couple of years with everything going on in the world. It's a ridiculous market right now. If you have to buy a vehicle right now, I feel bad for you. Obviously, there's still deals to be had out there, but I'm not really convinced, you guys, that the used car market's ever going to be the same again. You know, I don't know if it's ever going to go back to where it is. Case in point, so Corey bought this truck right before the pandemic hit, and it's the same truck that I have, except this is a 4.6, this is a 97, mine's a 5.4, it's a 2000, both extended cab, short box, four-wheel drive trucks. Body-wise, they're in similar condition. His has, well, about a third of the mileage that mine has, but I believe he paid 3 times more for this pickup than I paid for mine. I bought mine in late 19, he bought his in early 2020, maybe mid 2020, and the prices are just ridiculous. So the question that this brings me to is, do you need to buy a brand new pickup? Are some of these models reliable and, you know, do everything that a modern pickup is going to do? And I say yes. I've made a similar video to this when I first got my pickup, and I still stand by it. Since I bought my 2000 F-150, I have put just about 70,000 miles on it in the last couple of years, and I've done next to nothing to the truck. And obviously this is my profession, you know, fixing cars, being a mechanic, and the stuff that I have had to do to the truck is something that anybody can do, and a lot of it is general maintenance. You know, yes, it leaks oil, yes, it has dings and scratches, but I drive that truck a lot. I mean, 70,000 miles that's a lot of driving. And the only couple things I've fixed on the truck, I fixed the AC, and that was kind of a funny story. I didn't even notice that there was anything wrong with it other than the Freon was leaked out, but it was fall when I bought the truck, so I didn't really care. I was at a drive-through one day, so, you know, the brick wall of the drive-through is like right here, and I could just hear this awful ticking, you know, just like something in the drive belt. It was making noise. So I pulled it into the shop. I was still working at Toyota, and I took the belt off. And I know I've showed you this in previous videos, but the pulley and the clutch assembly on the AC compressor was like, I could wiggle it like this much. Like, I don't know how it was. I think the belt was literally just holding it on. So I called up the junkyard, and I found one for 60 bucks off another truck, put it on there, replaced the little Schrader valve, you know, looks like a tire valve core, and I put that in the AC line, charged up the AC, it's worked ever since, no leaks. Schrader valve, which cost me, what, 50 cents? That thing was leaking. The AC compressor cost me 60 bucks. Recently, I bought a set of coils for it. The coils on the truck are original, so I bought a set of coils and spark plugs, figured I'd do them all at the same time. That's going to be a fun project because 2 weeks ago or so, I had a hard miss on cylinder 2. The truck was running like crap, so I pulled it into the shop and I pulled that coil off, swapped the number 2 coil, and of course the miss followed, so I knew it was the coil pack that had gone bad. But I figured, you know, this would be a good time to do my spark plugs too. Bought all that. I have all new fluids for the truck just to do general maintenance. And there's so much dust and grime down in the spark plug hole, I couldn't even get it out. I was compressed air, you know, I'm in the process of making a little jig for my shop vac actually, so that I can get that crap out of there. But the truck's got almost 300,000 miles on it. They don't want to come out. So I'd like to replace the tiny lightning rods, and they don't want to cooperate exactly. So in that aspect, you know, this is all maintenance stuff. Coil pack's not necessarily maintenance, but with almost 300,000 miles, I really can't be, you know, upset that it failed. So I bought all 8 just to do them all at the same time, and stuff like this is going to be more complex. But I would argue that an old school V8 engine is going to be a lot easier to work on than some of this new stuff. I mean, the 2022 Toyota Tundra, as we've talked about before, I love Toyotas, and I try my best, you guys, to come to you not from a position of biased brand loyalty, but just from being in this industry for the last 8 years, you know? I know what's good and what's not, and I see it, and stereotypically, The Asian manufacturers make the best cars. I like a lot of the old Ford stuff. I like a lot of the old Chevy stuff. I prefer Ford, and that is kind of like a little brand loyalty thing, but both of them made decent vehicles back in the day. Modern, I would go Ford 100% before I would go Chevy. GM is just, it's turned into a total mess. And a lot of the stuff that Ford does, there's problems with too. But if I had to pick an American manufacturer, we're not even going to talk about Dodge, I would pick Ford over General Motors 100% of the time. That was a little tangent, but my point was these new Tundras that come out, and yes, I know it's the first year of the twin turbo V6, but they're having issues with them already, and the design of modern cars with all this technology, they're having troubles with the turbos. I just talked to my old parts guy at the dealer when I was picking up stuff for my shop. $4,000 some odd dollars for a turbo assembly, and there's two of them. Well, they're having some issues with these things, and to get at them, Toyota says you have to take the cab off the truck, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, they're brand new, this is new technology, so I'm sure, when I was at the dealer, we found workarounds for a lot of this stuff. I mean, 2GR V6, they said that you had to take the motor out to do the water pumps. And if you've ever worked at a Toyota dealership or familiar with Toyotas, you know that those are gravy, high-paying jobs because you don't have to do that. You take a few motor mounts out, you jack the motor up sideways, you can get those water pumps done. I could do a dozen of them in a day if I really wanted to, So are they going to find a workaround? Possibly, probably. I haven't looked at the new Tundra to see if there, would be any way to weasel them out. Sometimes you just can't. You work on a lot of the 3/4 ton, the diesel stuff. A lot of it's cab-off jobs. Point being, these older trucks are going to be easier to work on when you have to work on them. And you get a truck like this is a 4.6 97, or my 2000, which is a 5.4. Only difference was the deck height on the block, pretty much the same engine. They're going to be a lot easier to work on than a lot of this newer stuff that's coming out, and you're not going to need a whole bunch of fancy scan tools and all that other garbage to do this stuff. And I'm not saying buying an older truck is for everybody. I know there's people out there, they want the warranty, they want to be able to get in and go and not have to worry about maintenance, they want to take it to the dealer for their oil changes. That's all fine and dandy until you see things like I saw yesterday. I was just scrolling through Facebook on my phone, and there was a dealer about an hour from me, has a Black Widow Edition 2021 F-150. Okay, well, end of the day, all it is a stock F-150 with badges, seat covers, a big lift. I mean, it's an XLT truck. They wanted $91,000 for this pickup. I paid $1,200 for mine. Maybe now it's worth $2,500 in this crazy market, but you're telling me I could buy like 40 some odd 2000 F-150s for the price of one new one? No, this is getting absolutely ridiculous. And I say this a lot about new vehicles, but I mean, look at how old these trucks are right now, 20 years old, 25 years old, whatever. The average person can still work on them with a basic scan tool and a good set of tools. These new trucks, 20 years from now, when they're the equivalent of this truck right here, a 20-year-old used truck, who's going to be able to fix them? You're going to need fancy scan tools, all the radar, cruise control, all this automatic. It's just, I think it's going to be a nightmare for independent technicians and people who like to DIY their maintenance and minor repairs themselves, because just the software alone to be able to access some of this stuff. I mean, when I left Toyota, if you want to do a rear brake job on a new Camry or something, you had to plug in the scan tool and deactivate the electronic parking brake. Otherwise, if that thing engaged when you had it off, it would push the piston out of the caliper. Now you're putting a caliper on the thing. All the technology is great. I say that all the time. But at what point are we going to see this technology become obsolete and not be able to get the tools and have the capabilities to work on them when they're on the used car market? And that brings me back to, you want to pick up, generally, you want to use it so that you can throw stuff in the box. You want to go to Menards, bring your boat to the lake on the weekend, average pickup guy stuff, On top of being less complicated, being less expensive, you're not going to be afraid to do truck things in something like this and get it all dinged up, scratched up, like you are in a brand new truck. I don't know about you, I'm not spending $60, $70, $80, $90,000 on a pickup and then beating the hell out of it. I'm just not going to do it. So you guys, I'd like to know what your opinion is on this topic down in the comments below. Bringing it back, flashback old school in the car, just driving around talking to you guys. And of course, these are just my opinions. I'm not saying that everything I think works for everybody. Again, this is my job, so even general maintenance and stuff I can do fairly easily. Some people don't want to mess with that, that's fine. I just brought this up for educational purposes, you know, get your mind thinking about some of these things a little bit. It's interesting, right? So you don't have to completely agree with me. Drop a like up on this video for me, that really helps me out, you guys. If you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Get to 2,000 subscribers and we are doing another tool giveaway. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.